Hello YouTubers. I've got an awesome story about what we've gone and seen today. And it happens to be one of those good old Western stories. But before you actually hear it, you got to watch this video all the way to the end. I'll see you there. What is going on, YouTube? This is BB's Vlogs and Adventures. Day 2 of an adventure. Yesterday, we took a visit out to Oswald's grave. I thought that the video actually turned out good. There was a spot in the video where I had asked the name of somebody during the spirit box session. It had given me a name, and I happened to be parked right next to that grave. Go back and listen to it. I don't exactly have the timeline of whenever it happened. Whenever I do find out, I'll put it in that description of that video. But today, yes, I got my coffee first. I'm gonna wake up a bit because it's still dark outside. And we're gonna go to another cemetery today. Oakmont Cemetery, 701 Grand Avenue, Fort Worth, Texas. Founded in 1879 by John Peter Smith, who became a civic leader, mayor. His donation was for 20 acres on a cliff above the Trinity River. The land overlooks downtown Fort Worth. Today, it's over 100 acres. The cemetery has two other cemeteries on its land. One by the name of Calvary and one by the name of Trinity. There are quite a few Fort Worth prominent leaders buried here. There are plots owned by lodges, unions, along with Catholic men and women. There are tracts dedicated to the Union and the Confederate soldiers. One part is called the Soldiers Row, dedicated to Confederate veterans and their wives. In 1914, a chapel was built. Oakwood Cemetery became a Texas landmark in 1966. We are now in Oakwood Cemetery. The gates lock at 6 p.m. every night. And I came in at 7 o'clock this morning as they opened the gates. There's some graves out here that we'll talk about. We'll talk about why this graveyard is actually haunted. original name was the New Cemetery, later then named Oakwood. Catholics buried their loved ones in Calvary Cemetery, whereas the African American culture named theirs Trinity Cemetery. Inside the grounds of Oakmont Cemetery was often designed as a final resting place for cattle kings and oil barons. One of the popular stories from Oakwood is about a white figure who roams around the ground at night. Residents who live near the cemetery have often reported they believe it's a woman wearing a bridal dress. The story claims the woman is not looking for her long-lost love, but moves around the grounds with a lantern looking for her children, lost and buried here at Oakwood Cemetery. This right here is Calvary Cemetery. This is also part of Oakmont Cemetery. It's just another cemetery in front of the other. As you see, most of all these gravestones, especially like where you see the Henry gravestone has a cross. This is where all the Catholics seem to have originated to be buried and laid to rest here. As you see, that's the downtown and Trinity River that's overshadowing out in the distance. I don't know if the sun's blocking that. It may be a bad view, but I mean, it's definitely right over the Trinity River. This may be a better view of what I was just showing, but that's the river, that's the Trinity River. And then that is downtown Fort Worth. I don't know if a lot of people know, but did you know that things that are supposedly haunted, like castles and graveyards that are around bodies of water, which the Trinity River goes all the way around this, but it gives energy for spirits. As I was sitting in the residential section in Fort Worth on Grand Avenue before the cemetery opened at 7 a.m. this morning, Oakwood Cemetery seems very alluring, eerie. There has to be oak trees as old as the cemetery itself. I hear that shading most of the... I hear that on rainy days, they say you begin to imagine in and out of the tombstone just beyond your eyes. Mausoleums, gravel roads. Also offer pause. That road or inside the old ornate tomb, or your eyes playing tricks on you after all. I can't tell. I mean, there is a lot of shade under all these trees and tombstones. I mean, this is probably the most wide open one. If I took you around to the right here, and look how narrow some of this. See, I don't even know where to park because I'm afraid I'm parking on somebody's grave. It's just so terrifying. See, I mean, that would be somewhere where I know that I could probably park because it's blocked off, because you can see that the burial ground is probably down past this little marker for Barrett. Well, there is a gravesite of a famous person by the name of Jim Courtright. This cemetery actually is on the outskirts of what we call Hell's Half Acre from downtown Fort Worth, sitting on Grand Avenue, as I've spoken about. Jim Courtright, he was bringing law into the town. He died in a gunfight and lost. He was supposedly laid to rest here at Oakwood. I would love to find his tombstone, but there are so many grave sites, I wouldn't know where to begin. Maybe a spirit box session may help me find it. I don't know how I got so lucky, but I just turned off the clip I was just saying about looking for Jim Courtright. I actually found it. I wasn't even but 2 feet away from it before I said, is that it? This is it. Jim Longhaired Courtright, 1845 to 1887, U.S. Army Scout, U.S. Marshal, frontiersman, pioneer, representative of a class of men now passing from Texas who, whatever their faults were, type of that brave, courageous man who withstood command, respect, and admiration. Erected in 1953 in memory of Jim by his descendants. That is the tomb. This is where Jim Longhaired Courtright is buried, right here. He had a shootout as he was trying to provide law here in the Fort Worth area. Wow, I cannot believe I found it. I am fixing to start the spirit box session. I'm over by Jim Longhaired Courtright's grave. See if we can get anything out of this. Jim Courtright. I'm wondering if I can talk to Jim Courtright. Forward. Go away. I'm not here to disrespect anybody. I understand that I am at your home, and I am your guest. Jim Courtright, can you please let me know that you can hear me? I would like to know your story. What do you think how do you think the laws are going here in Fort Worth? Safe? Is there a spirit with a white dress that actually haunts the cemetery at night? Is there anybody out there that wants to share their story with me? Who is talking with me? What is the name on your tombstone? Johnson? I'll have to get out here in a minute and look for Johnson. Am I in the right location for Johnson? Is this all you guys want to tell me? I'm not quite understanding anything, but usually whenever I actually play this back at home, I get a lot more. Is there any grave that I might be able to find around me that anybody can speak from? Who was that just passed me? What grave is close to me? Matt? Okay, well, like I said, I'm your guest. This is your home. I need everybody to understand that you must stay home. You cannot come with me. You are not welcome to come with me. You are to stay at home. This home. Where you were laid to rest. I'm actually going to give this one more chance. Tell me a name of a grave that I should actually look for out here. Mead? Okay, well, I'm gonna drive around this the graveyard again. I'm gonna look for something by the name of mead. Thank y'all for talking to me, and remember, y'all must stay here. This is your rest home, and I am your guest here. You are not allowed to come with me.
No.
Y'all rest in peace. So unlike yesterday, I wanted to step out because I did hear the word mead, like M-E-A-D-E or M-E-A-D. I wanted to step out and see if I saw any graves that may have had the last name as Mead. I don't see any out here that's where I did this spirit box session, but I'm gonna drive around one more time and see if I see anything like that. I mean, I know mead could mean anything. There has to probably be a mead in this cemetery. There's so many tombstones in this thing. This is an old cemetery. So I have two more sections I also want to go through before I end the video. But I also want to go home and do a little research on Jim Longhaired Courtright. We got a little bit of a Western type story. So, like I said, I'm gonna roam around and look for mead. When driving slow or walking through the cemetery or walking anywhere in it, I feel the eyes over me. I have not found any mead stone, and I doubt that I will. There's a lot of energy out here, I can just tell. I don't know how to explain it. It's not heavy on the eyes, it's more uplifting on the heart that all these people are buried out here. This is a lot of land. So, do y'all see those gates out here? Okay, if I get 50 likes in the next month on this video, I'm gonna do an overnight stay and pretty much camp around the perimeter of the cemetery. I can't come into the cemetery until 7 a.m. What I will do though is film myself about every couple of hours. If you want to see that video, I want to see 50 likes. If I don't get 50 likes, then probably just won't come back. So today we found the grave of Jim Longhaired Courtright. In 1887, Jim Courtright, nicknamed Longhair, was running a commercial agency in Fort Worth, Texas. The agency provided protection to gambling dens and saloons in return for a portion of their profits. At the same time, Luke Short, a former friend of Courtright's, was running the White Elephant Saloon, and Jim was trying to get Short to utilize his services. But Short told Courtright to go to hell. He could do any gunslinging that was necessary to take care of his business. February 8th, 1887, both men quarreled, resulting in one of the most famous gunfights in Western history. Courtright and Short dueled in the streets in one of the few face-to-face gunfights in American West. Drawing their pistols at close range, Short fired first, blowing off Courtright's thumb. Courtright attempted a border shift. It's a move where a gunfighter switches their gun to an uninjured hand, but he was too slow. Luke Short shot him in the chest, killing him. No time was wasted in an exchange of words. Once the men faced each other, both drew their pistols at the same time, but as usual, Short spoke first, and a bullet from a Colt .45 caliber pistol went crashing through Courtright's body. The shock caused him to reel backward, then he got another, and still another. By the time his lifeless form had reached the floor, Short succeeded in shooting him 5 times. The gunfight became well known due to the notoriety of both men. Courtright's funeral was attended by hundreds of Fort Worth residents. Short was arrested for the shooting, but was never brought to trial, though he was almost lynched immediately after the shootout.